all I can tell you is for 16 years, we would do 4 o'clock and every other judge would close all the offices at 2 and my people would still be there till 4 o'clock and not have people coming in. So that's why the 2 o'clock is
You're
on.
trying to notify people, but if we close the courthouse, we don't even put out a notification that the courthouse is closed at 2, so you could close with us, I would think.
Yeah, we
Correct.
we
Usually-
try to let our patrons know. It's just,
It was usually like the judge would say, you know, I'm gonna let all my direct reports go home at 2 or 3 today.
right.
That's
And
how
it
that works.
usually happens at noon or 11 that day of, and that's really not enough time. That's why
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do it to make sure.
No, I get the rationale, but there's a couple things that could happen. One, we might not close early on Friday, but if we do close, then I don't know why you couldn't close too, because we don't notify people necessarily that we're closing the courthouse early. So I
Well, we
don't know
don't-
why anybody could be critical of you. If the courthouse closed and you closed with it, I don't know how they could be critical.
I hate to use the term, it's how we've done it.
But-
It's just a way to allow my patrons to know and get the word
Now,
out.
what
And we
happens if
usually
What do
don't.
we do if we don't close it too?
That's what I'm gonna say, that's what I was gonna say. On the other hand, what if we don't close it to, is that,
And see, on a Friday, you may not choose because you got Saturday and Sunday to be off before the holiday.
instead of
But
having
that'll be,
5 days?
that'll be your call, but I mean, at that time, but this is 6 months early, 4 months early, whatever it is.
That's right. So what do y'all wanna do?
I'm 500% good with the Saturdays, of course, but I think, you know, just leave the
Fridays off there?
other 2 p.m. up to you that day.
Would you recommend the library, unless otherwise specified, did as the rest of the courthouse did?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I would think.
Is that what you were kinda getting to?
Follow whatever the courthouse does,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what I'm saying.
I'll make that motion that the library closes on those Saturdays, but we make the, you know, the day prior just at the
Discretion of the
discretion
judge.
of the judge. I'm sorry, it's early.
Okay. Did you get that motion?
Approving the Saturdays, but it's discretionary.
Approving the Saturdays, but the day before is at my discretion. Basically, if we're gonna take off early, then they take off early with us.
The library follow the protocol of the courthouse, of the court.
We have a motion. Did you get that? Commissioner Snuggs, okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hollowell. All in favor? Any opposed? And there are none. Those 3 consent agenda items, G, H, and I, pass 5-0 with the exception that the wording is changed to where the Fridays prior to the holiday is at the discretion of the judge. Okay.
Well, actually, yeah.
Do it.
Nothing.
Yep, okay. Item number 7, deliberate and consider possible approval of polling place locations for the Constitution Amendment election to be held on November 7th, 2023.
So this is just that y'all have to approve, y'all have the option to consolidate. And it does say that you should take where does it read that? Consult with your election board, which I did call everybody on the election board, and they were all good with not consolidating. That was just their recommendation. So also, I recommend not consolidating. It confuses the voters where to go vote. I mean, sometimes on a constitutional amendment, we have consolidated because it's kind of a small turnout. But I have 5 entities have an election with us. So I feel like, and there's some of them amendments that are going to be very controversial, so I feel like we're going to have a good turnout. So I recommend not to consolidate and just approve these. And I also wanted to just point out that I do have Precinct 1 here at the annex, if you are okay with that. Have an election day also in our annex election room.
So in other words, you want this is to keep the election places as they are and as
Except
we
for
have known
precinct
them.
1 and not
Rather than-
consolidate.
Right,
Yeah, there's not any other ones that have changed since the last election.
okay.
And she's not talking about Commissioner's Precinct 1, she's talking about voting
Right.
box 1.
Voting.
This is voting precinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, voting precincts.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make that motion that we do not consolidate.
Just approve of what I,
Just
there's an
approve
order
it.
in there, we're approving these locations.
That's right. Do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Sickey. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And there are none.
And just a note, did you reduce it in the past prior to, we consolidated, how many boxes did we eliminate
Right.
last year?
What did we eliminate? We had
7 or 8 boxes.
Yeah, well, we were sharing locations with a lot of precincts because they didn't have a large number of registered voters. So we actually only went down 1 polling location. We had 16, now we have 15. But precincts, we had like 28, I can't remember the number anymore, 28 or something, and now we're down to only 15
So we reduced
precincts.
13
We
precincts.
increased our precincts, not really our locations.
Yeah.
But, yeah, now we're all legal.
So we would be consolidating them even more had we
We
taken
would,
an action.
yes.
So this is a good move.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, item number 8 is to deliberate and consider possible acceptance of maintenance bond with surety rider and rider adding obligee to the Parker Heights. And Commissioner Snubbs, you want to speak to that?
It's just a formality. Kathy, we're good with everything, aren't we?
Clear sky.
Blue Sky. Yeah, no, this Parker Heights.
On behalf of the Clear Sky Muds.
Oh, yeah, because they're connected. Yeah. Yep, I make a motion, we approve this.
We have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, that we approve item number 8.
Second.
Second,
This,
Commissioner Hart.
I'll say this, this is the nicest road that'd be under Cooke County maintenance. It's, one of the most incredible concrete operations I've ever seen, so very proud to accept this one when it gets time.
Sounds good. We have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, a second, Commissioner Hart. All in favor? Any opposed? There are none. Item 8 passes 5-0. Item number 9, consider and possibly approve allowing the jail to move money from the salary line to extra help and overtime line and budget amendment for same.
Judge, that was on last court, so that you just need to take no action on that.
Okay, thank you very much. No action, item number 9. Item number 10, consider and possibly approve optional fees as they are or imposing new fees with Texas DMV for calendar year 2024.
Where are we currently at on the child safety, Shelley? What are we charging?
25 cents a form should be in your
Well, I see where we can go to.
Is that your Brady?
$1.50.
Would you tell us who you are and tell us what you have to say?
I am Brandy Carter. I'm the tax assessor collector. We're currently at $1. We added that in 2019. And you can go up to $1.50 is the max.
I was thinking we might go up to $1, but if we're at the $1, what that is that's that we use that crosswalk funds to help Abigail's Arms and CASA.
2019.
It can go to $1.50.
We could, I mean, it's a tax,
Oh, I
but
understand.
it's something everybody shares in it, but
It's a minor tax that helps our general fund.
well, no.
Well, it helps keep
Helps the entities.
Yeah.
some things off of our general fund. Let me reword that.
Offsets our expenditures.
Yeah. table where I was studying for court. I was studying.
Shelley, do you know off the top of your head what it generated last year?
I look like you.
You told me 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it was still coming in, so.
We're currently at 41,000 for this year.
We raise it 50 cents, it'll raise a third. Increase it
Go
a
up
third.
when more people move in.
Well, yeah, over time. Of course, our dollar will do that. It's a little tongue-tied there.
I think we only got brought in 35 last year,
We got 35 last year.
so it's up this year.
Any thoughts on that, guys? You thought we were under $1 and you were wanting to go to $1.
I was all about going to $1, but I kind of quieted down. Like I said,
Whatever y'all
it's,
think on that, I mean, we bumped it a quarter. I don't think anybody's gonna get mad about an extra quarter on their license fees to help the kiddos.
Oh, they're gonna get mad.
yeah.
They're gonna be mad at you though,
Yeah, they're gonna be mad at me.
which
It's all
ultimately
right.
makes them mad
I'm telling them
at
to
me
go
too.
talk to y'all.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do, you know? Yeah.
I mean, if you think it's gonna cause an uproar, we can just keep where it's at.
We just have to explain why it went up, honestly.
And we tell them it's all about the children.
And then some people think that's a cop-out when you say that, and they're gonna think, oh, that's BS.
Yeah.
That's
As long
just
as we don't
human.
say they're going to the general fund, we'll.
Right.
That was bad wording.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
I mean, I guess we just keep it the same. I'll make a motion, we keep it the same this year. It's a dollar, it's a
Motion to keep it
dollar.
the same? All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, to make the fees remain the same. Do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right,
you.
thank you, Randy.
What about the county road and bridge? Where we at on that?
$10.
Are we at
Leave for
10
will.
on it?
That's the max, is $10 on the
Are
county
we
road
at
bridge.
10? Okay. Good with that?
Okay, item number 11 is to open a public hearing regarding rezone of 6.493 acres out of a 16.75 acre tract at 4988 East Lone Oak Road in Valley View from agricultural to residential as requested by Angel and Letitia Zambrano. And I will open this public hearing at 10:19. How many are here to speak on that particular item? 2? Okay. All right. Would you like to get up first? You're closest. So we'll go with that. And identify yourself. if you
Yes,
would.
hi, my name is Gary Yost. I live at 4874 East Lone Oak Road. I'm the property immediately west of this proposed zoning property. It's been a long road on this one. I have opposed this rezoning. I opposed it at the P&Z meeting for very basic reasons. It's not compatible with the agricultural properties and the size of the properties adjacent to it. It is opposition from all of the surrounding property owners, and y'all have letters. Y'all have letters stating so. It has jumped around from 5 point something acres to 6.93 and stuff like that. And it's my true belief that it will impact the value of my property if it's approved. I do not think the P&Z Commission made a correct decision in that they did not follow the criteria that is in the ordinance. So on the front end, I would say this should be denied. On the back end, I'm a realist, and my job is to protect the value of my property. And so if the court sees fit to approve this, I would like the court to consider the following conditions, and we brought this up at the last one. One is that all utilities be underground. Two, that there be no further subdivision of this new property. And I would add to that, that all 6.493 acres should be sold, rather than the original 5.2 or whatever it was. Three,
Say that part again, I'm sorry.
I said that the 6.493 acres should be sold as a single parcel, and not less than that, I guess, if they're going to rezone 6.4. Three, the P&Z regulations say in agricultural that there is 100-foot setback, side yard setback for building, as a building line. I would like to maintain that, just to protect, again, my property. My driveway is on the very east side of my property and adjacent to this property. And four, I would like to see a 50-foot landscape buffer between them. When they put up the original deed restrictions they had with the buyer, they had a 650-foot building setback from the front, which puts the new buildings closer to my house than it does to their house. And that was to protect their property at the cost of my property. So I would like to see these conditions implemented as part of any kind of approval. But overall, I would think that this should be denied as not compatible with existing land uses. Did y'all get those? Did you get? Thank y'all very much. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Okay.
Good morning, I'm Zanel Zambrano. I'm speaking on behalf of my dad, Angel, and my mom, Leticia Zambrano, who's here with me. So this, as it's been mentioned, it's been a long journey to get here. At the P&Z meeting, it was unanimously voted for approval for what we've applied for, what my parents have applied for. Our last meeting, we had the discussion of there was an issue with the entrance on the property, and I hope you guys have a copy of the survey. If not, I have it here, where it was required for a 60-foot entrance, and it's mentioned on the survey. Also, I have a copy of the text dot just approving where the entrance could go for the buyer of the property. So the buyer of the property is a friend. I personally work with him. He's in his early 40s, and he doesn't plan on building immediately. It's, a retirement kind of deal. Also, some conditions that were mentioned, we did try to cordially meet with the neighbor to try to work some things out. I, of course, can't speak on behalf of the guy who's buying the property, since that's not my right to do so. But do you guys have any questions in regards to the survey and the notes on there as far as the entry goes? I know that was our issue last time, just as far as the entry on the property. Do you guys have any questions on the survey?
Under the flood note there, general notes, it says that the the property allows for 60-foot entrance at the road. Can I look at that text dot thing?
Sure. So this here is whenever the buyer's ready to do the entry, he just has to fill out the application and send it in. I have copies of the email just stating that to reach out whenever.
I know you said you don't have the authority to speak for the prospective buyer.
Correct.
But there were a number of things that were listed by Mr. Yost as far as if the thing did go forward.
Sure.
Do you have any idea if
Yes.
he would be
Yes, so
willing to comply with?
Yes, so I've actually, again, I work with him, so I've been in contact with him. I met with COSER personally on site, on his behalf. Undergrounds, you know, I work in construction, so I know the process of undergrounds. Met them, they're able to run undergrounds back there, no problem. The buyers is perfectly fine with doing that. I know another item that was mentioned was a 100-foot setback on the side of the property. I believe the requirements are at least 50 feet. We try to meet at the middle of 75, but again, I haven't been able to speak on behalf of the neighbor. Another one was just as far as keeping up some of the shrubbery and tree lines on the side. The neighbor wants to be as private as possible there also, so he's not knocking anything down. So I know that, you know, as far as demoing or reworking the trees, that's not going to happen. But I think an issue is just how far off the home site can go. I know last time, the deeds, you know, deed restrictions that we had, we kind of said, you know what, this has been such a long road, we're willing to throw, you know, some of these things out just so we can get this done. It's just gotten to that point where we're just trying to be good neighbors. The guy that I work with, he's a good guy, he's not a loud guy. We all moved out there for a reason. I personally don't live out there, but I do visit my parents very often since they're older. So, you know, it's just a retirement thing for him in the future. He's not planning on building multiple houses out there. It's just, you know, in the future when his kids graduate school, when he's decided to retire, he's going to move out there.
Something else, I didn't really know, excuse my voice, I didn't really know until last week, but evidently there's a restriction against removing trees and things like that on properties that are within the core area. Is that,
That's not a factor here, that was Lakeside.
okay, that's Lakeside, okay. Well, that doesn't apply here. So what you're saying is, though, you think the buyer would be amenable to the restrictions that Mr. Yost put in his request if we went forward with the...
Not 100%. Again, I can't speak on behalf of him. I know the undergrounds isn't an issue. That's, you know, we've already discussed that with him. I met with CoServe out there just to make sure that there wouldn't be any issues, because we didn't want, you know, we agreed to it. You know, the buyer, is not able to run underground. So we wanted to, you know, 100% make sure that they're able to run it back there, which they can. Then again, no trees will be knocked down. I can't speak on behalf of him where he can place his home exactly. I know we were willing to meet in the middle. What's being requested was 100 feet. I know the minimum is 50, so, you know, I know the conversations that I had with the buyer is, hey, would you be willing to do 75 feet? And that's just kind of where it was left off.
The 100 feet was just to maintain the existing setback for agricultural use.
I'm trying to pull that up. I know the setbacks are different for different tracks. You remember what they are?
I'm sorry.
The setbacks are different on different track sizes. I was trying to pull
Residential
that.
track is 50 feet.
Right.
Okay, for agricultural track, it's 10 acres, 100 feet.
I can't get internet on anything.
Internet's down.
Okay.
So the 50-foot you're concerned about is documented in our guidelines?
The 50, yes, sir. The 50 feet
It's
is
very Ray Roberts. Okay. So that's a non-issue, it's enforceable. Okay. You said a 5-yard setback, Gary?
I'm sorry.
Did you say something about a 5? I'm sorry. Did you say something about a 5?
That should be working now.
Did you say something about a 5-yard setback somewhere?
That's right. 100-foot building setback. I asked for we had talked about it, and Mr. Serrano mentioned just a 50-foot landscape buffer, don't tear down the trees, that kind of stuff along the property line. And I think they're agreeable with that.
Okay, but is that not, what I'm looking for is what's truly enforceable and what's not in your concerns. So the 50-foot is part of the Ray Roberts subdivision guidelines,
Or residential stuff.
and this is residential, will be residential, subject to be.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where I got a 5-yard setback. All right. To sell the property, in its entirety, I don't know where there's any, I don't know where we have any teeth in that. What? I mean,
Well, I mean, the minimum residential lot size of Lake Ray Rivers is 2.5 acres.
okay,
If they zone, if it's approved at 6.5 acres, let's say, they could come in at a later date and subdivide that, sell off half of it, and still be within the residential zone.
okay.
I'm just trying to say, that's, 5 acres is not compatible with surrounding 2.5 acres, sure.
Can I
See,
chime
I
in?
don't know how we reject anything based on compatibility. If they meet the guidelines and they plat it correctly, I don't know, I mean,
That's just it, if we start here, where do we stop?
I mean,
We gotta kind of go with their recommendations, right? I mean,
well, we got to operate within the guidelines.
right.
And, yeah, I think you mentioned early on that Ray Roberts P and Z didn't follow the rules, but that's since all been corrected,
They
right?
didn't follow the criteria, they didn't look at the criteria, and one of those criteria is on page 74 of the ordinance that says, is it compatible with immediately adjacent land use? Immediate being my property and the Ravage property on the other side, that's immediately adjacent. You go from 25 acres to 5 acres in any kind of zoning area is a non-compatible use. It's like going from $1 million home to a gas station next door. That's non-compatible. And it's, and I agree with you, Gary, it's a judgment call. But it's, all the acreage is south of Blown Up Road between 251 and 3499, I believe, or even all of them are greater than 10 acres. Most of them in the 20 to 25, 50 acre tracts.
So whenever he's talking about the criteria, I read this stuff 1,000 times, but I can't, it's hard to memorize. But, you know, it talks about compatible and future land use, compatible density, proximity to the lake, design standards, compatibility and existing land uses, and then any drainage and runoff issues. These are the criteria for rezoning anything.
But there's nothing to keep Gary from subdividing his 25, or somebody from dividing their 50.
No.
See,
I could do 12 and a half acre tracts right now and it'd still be agricultural,
Yeah, that's,
you know. There's nothing to stop me from doing that. other than-
Judge, the public's not hearing his comments.
no.
yeah, we should have had you at the
Yeah,
podium,
could've had him
yeah,
at the podium.
The conditions I'm asking for would
Do you mind just
Step up to the microphone.
yeah.
The conditions I'm asking for would be a condition of approving the rezoning. And quite honestly, if an issue came up with those conditions, if for example, if y'all approved a 100-foot building setback and they built 50-foot, that would be something that the county would need to enforce. If they put it in the deed restrictions, then it becomes a civil matter, be something I would have to enforce legally if I went out there and saw that they were putting a building closer than it should be. Now, I would certainly do that if it was in the deed restrictions, but I can't force him to put something in the deed restrictions. And that's why I'm asking that the county put it as a condition of the rezoning.
Mr. Zambrano, y'all had talked about being willing to do 75 and meet in the middle on that. Right? But then you said you hadn't talked to the
It had been mentioned to the buyer, but again, I know the requirements in the book is 50 feet. So we're already giving, what's being requested. We're trying to be good neighbors, No trees will be knocked down, undergrounds, I know it was just mentioned that, hey, how do I control this potential buyer from splitting off the property? I've already had that discussion. I told him, you can't buy this property if you're splitting it up. So he won't split it up. So that's one thing. My parents are not, they'll still have, it still will fall under agriculture. They won't split it up either. So again, I don't think I can legally speak on behalf of the
No, you-
of the
I
neighbor,
just
of
was
the
asking.
buyer.
Because you had mentioned the 75, I didn't know if you had cleared that with the buyer.
But to get all that in writing to accommodate these requests, we'd have to go change our subdivision guidelines.
Yeah, I don't think
So,
that we don't,
yeah.
I don't think that we have the teeth.
I don't
to
think
put
we
those
have the
restrictions.
teeth to do it. I mean, that's my concern. I mean,
You certainly place petitions on rezoning. I mean, it's not seen it done 1,000 times. I've seen P and Z and city councils tell them what color of roof they use on their buildings. I mean, that happens.
but, of course, city can do things we can't do, but my concern, if we start making exceptions, there'll be somebody up here at every court making exceptions, would be my concern, Gary. And I still kind of a property rights advocate about letting people do what they want to do and need to do on their property. And I realize that you folks at about 25 acres didn't anticipate this happening to you, but
No, but yeah, I mean, we bought 25 acres, and Ronald bought 25 acres, and now they're continually subdividing the property.
Since the last time we had court, did you try to go talk to them to try to get these in?
We haven't had any contact since the last court, no. We met prior to the last court, and this is where these conditions evolved from.
and
When did this project start? It's back before
Last year.
July of last year.
July of last year, okay. And what I'm about to say, I think, is not gonna be very popular anywhere, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You have claimed that the person you represent is in no hurry to get anything done here. He's not gonna build for a while or anything else.
Correct.
What would be wrong with putting it off yet again before a final decision is made on this property here?
Judge, they've been in here how many times
I
now, and done
know.
everything we've asked them. I don't think we have the right to keep prolonging this.
Yeah, I was hoping that
Okay, by the same
there'd been
token,
another conversation between them.
by the same token, I'm not comfortable with, well, I cannot vouch for what the person I represent is going to ultimately do. For instance, he won't build, he won't subdivide, for instance. What's to say that he will subdivide 6 months from now?
Well,
if we
that,
pass this thing.
that'll have to come to, again, he'll have to go through the process of P and Z, and that'll,
She said to replat, it's already zoned.
but I don't think he won't. I have confidence he won't do that. I've worked with him for almost 10 years.
It'd be nice to have that documented somewhere that they can't use something again.
I think with the building setbacks, it's gonna limit itself naturally to 249.
If they do in fact happen.
If you're 50 here.
some of that, Judge, I don't think you and I can control. Some of that's gonna be between property owners, gonna be between them and deed restrictions.
Now, don't get me wrong, we can control it by not passing it at all.
Well, is that a motion?
No, that's not a motion,
50 and 50, 150.
that's just an answer.
If you
It's
take
kinda like when I
50,
put the windmills out north of my house, around my house, I've got them on 3 sides of me. I didn't want the things, but they're there. I can't tell the property owners what to do on their property, and I don't want them telling me what to do on mine. I mean, if he's done everything that's been asked of him, I don't know that there's a whole lot more we can do about it.
with the, as far as it getting chopped up again, our subdivision regulations are gonna stop that because it wouldn't reach, one of the original issues with this one was that it didn't reach a minimum width, so they had to adjust that. And then with the building setbacks, you'd only have 150 foot to work with, so I think just by default, it could never be chopped up again because it wouldn't be big enough, unless they chopped it front to back, but. Yeah, chop it north and south, but then you've got
Oh, but if they do that,
60-foot easements and all that. I think just by default, it just.
well, if they
kills it.
chop it again, they're gonna have to build a road
Yeah.
to subdivision guidelines, which is gonna cost them a ton of money. And they've got to use this entry because TxDOT rules is not gonna let them put an entry any closer. That's the whole reason for the 60 foot on this, is it not?
Right, yeah, they're not gonna allow any other entrances. But I think,
I don't know how you get a road in there.
I feel like you can get a deed restriction. I think you can do a deed restriction to not subdivide it again, but I think it chokes it down, just by our rules.
If that's what it takes, we can get the deed for him not to be able to subdivide. That's not a problem.
But we can't
I
dictate
can't force
that.
that, but what I would have hoped in this time, this long amount of time, is that y'all had gotten to the table and worked all this out.
I would love the opportunity to sit down with the buyer, but if the seller would be agreeable to put all these conditions in the deed restriction.
And there you have why I said, could we put it off again? Very simply. All of these things that we're talking about, would have been nice if we'd done this, would have been nice if we'd done that. Wouldn't it be nice if it was done before it came to court?
And it would have been, like, we've been here 3 times for sure.
All right, we're gonna close the public hearing. We done with the public hearing? That's where we are right now.
Well, as soon as they're through, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have already given the conditions of, no deforestation, undergrounds. We were willing to meet halfway of the setback, and now, I know that the buyer would agree not to split the property, so that's already meeting, 4 of the conditions that are, offered. As far as where the buyer can build his home, I just can't speak for him, on his behalf.
Okay, and that's all I was getting at. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If any of this was down in writing someplace, if any of it was discussed beforehand and agreed upon, it would be a lot different than, I can't speak for my, the person I represent, and I don't think he'll do this, and,
Okay.
there's a lot of difference in between those things.
Well, I would like to say from my last statement, this is our 7th or 8th meeting, P&Z,
Sure.
now this. It's been a long journey, and all the requirements that are being asked in the zoning, I believe we're meeting them. As far as the compatibility, there are some neighboring properties that are compatible to what's being subdivided. There is a property next to Mr. Yost that is 7 acres. It's only 50 feet wider as far as the width goes, where the road is for that particular property. We've given examples of acre properties, 3-acre properties, so they're around there in the vicinity. So that's my last statement.
Do you have anything else?
Thank you. No, thank you.
Close the public hearing at 10:45. That was item number 12. Item number 13, deliberate and consider possible action.
No,
Do what?
not taking any action on
Yeah, you're about to take action if you want to.
Sorry.
Yeah, he just,
Go ahead.
we just had the hearing, we just closed the hearing, yeah.
it? Sorry.
Okay. Deliberate and consider possible action on a rezone of 6.493 acres out of 16.75 acre tract at 4988 East Lone Oak Road, Valley View, from agricultural to residential, as requested by Angel and Letitia Sembrano. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A motion that, would you state your motion?
Let's see where to go. Make a motion to rezone. Rezone the 6.493 acres of the 16-acre tract east of Lone Oak Road, Valley View, from agriculture to residential.
Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Sicking. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hollowell. All in favor? Aye.
Nay.
All op- B and A. All right, we have 4 ayes, 1 nay. And the Commissioner Snuggs was the nay. The motion passes 4-1.
I hope that y'all work on that deed restriction.
I do too.
I just don't see any way we could impose it.
We can't from our court.
Item number 14, we're going to open another public hearing. That'll be fun. 10:47. And that is concerning replat of lots 561 and 562 Lake Kiowa subdivision.
Anybody here to talk on this one? Looks like P and Z or Lake Kiowa signed off on it, so nobody to speak. We'll close the public hearing.
All right. There's no one here to speak on that one, so
Is that in there?
we'll close the public hearing at 10:48.
Others?
Item number 16 is deliberate and consider possible action on request by George Gibson III to replat lots 561, 562, Lake Kiowa subdivision.
The Lake Kiowa POA signing off on it, I make a motion, we approve the replat.
We have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, to approve the replat.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 18, item number 17, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Prosperity Building. And there is a development that has occurred in the last week or so where we were notified that we had disregard, totally disregard. That was, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're talking about a commercial lease addendum for option to extend the term to the second floor occupant, Gary Dale Lewis. He wanted to extend his lease option. And I'll make a motion, we do that.
How long is it?
He had initially said 6 months, but he won't take that long, I'm sure. He's gonna be moving into the register building. But he mentioned 6 months when he first said that.
And there's been some time passed since this came to light, right?
So it'll be less than 6 months.
Well, we've done it once before
Right.
this be 6 months, takes us into 2024, March of 2024.
Right.
They're just now building them, starting on the,
Facade of the
well,
register.
they're just now starting on the new Prosperity facility too, so.
Okay, we have a motion to go ahead and extend the tenant second floor, the Prosperity Bank for
Second.
up to 6 months. Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item number 18 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding broadband services. Mr. Snuggs?
Nothing at this time.
Guys, I might offer something up or do it during budget. I wonder if we want to set aside some of that ARPA money we got back off the salaries for broadband. And we talked last week about redoing RFQ, RFP. We might not have to do that if we just, we know how it breaks out as far as microwave versus fiber. Move with NextLink on the,
Matt, you hear this?
Not real well.
Go ahead if you would. Re-speak.
you guys recall the letter on the way that was broken out, the first two items out of the 4 or 5 that was recommended to us by the committee?
Some of it.
What it was a combined effort between Nortex and NextLink. The top item on that was with NextLink. A consideration might be go ahead and do the NextLink portion of that, and then that's all they get, and then we move right on into Nortex doing fiber. So, anyway, that's but if we do any of those, we're gonna need some money, and
We sign in with them, then we are not allowed for grants in, right? Once we contract with any of them on it before we get the grant, we're not, what I understood.
this is something we probably want to talk about some more about how we do it, but no reason to have a conversation unless we had money. And where I'm headed with this, regardless of how we do it, we've talked about, I think we actually voted to discontinue that process, but there's ARPA money that came back to us as a result of them not paying the premium pays. Remember that? So now we're picking it up. When we get Shelley back in here during budget and talk to her and see how much ARPA money's out there, we might look at setting some of that aside for the broadband project. Okay? I'm sorry.
That definitely a good way to skin the cat.
Maybe. I mean, something to talk about, but we know that we want to use the services of both of them, and we might just do step one. I need to resurrect that, but Shelley, do you know how much ARPA money's out there that I might consider for broadband?
About 1.7.
See, I think that pays for that. It's real close. Like I said, I need to resurrect the letter, but it gets real close to paying for broadband. Do we have that earmarked right now? Excuse me, Shelley,
It's
anywhere?
in contingency.
It's in contingency, okay.
I would like to hear from the committee.
Yeah. Well, they gave us an outline on how to do it.
Well, when we bid it, or we sent out a proposal, we tentatively have, the court picked a vendor that Commissioner Snugg and I are supposed to be negotiating with, and we haven't done that. So,
Once we didn't have any money, we kind of slow rolled it.
Yeah. And we get it. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking outside the box, and I'm doing it on the broadband line item, but we probably want to go revisit it when we talk about budget later, or, well, you would leave it in contingency anyway. Okay.
but, I mean, right now, we still have the proposal, y'all, we haven't.
We voted last week, I think,
You haven't rejected that
I
proposal.
thought we rejected it, and he was going to go tell him why, or he was going to tell him why
No.
then.
No, you did not.
Okay.
I don't remember. My brain was fried with budget.
You talked about
Conversation.
redoing it all, but you did not vote to reject that.
I thought we went ahead and voted to reject it, and he
Why
was
not?
going to call and tell him why.
There wasn't an item on the agenda to do that.
We talked about it under broadband.
I don't recall that.
I remember something, Like I said, I'm so clouded with budget since then, Gary, I apologize.
Ain't
We
no
talked
reason.
about redoing it all, but,
Discussion and consideration to withdraw or reverse the RFP with NextLink. Auditor Shelley Atterbury reported the county did not qualify for grant funds, and the court would not reject the proposal.
Need to reject.
Would need to reject the proposal, no action. Okay.
What court was that?
Last one.
July 24th.
Yeah, that's what the minutes are. Because we talked about rejecting it, and we said, hey, we need to let Jason go out and tell them why we're gonna do it so that they don't, so we don't turn them off. Because we want them to do it, we just, or want them to be part of it.
my suggestion would be to move forward with the vendor that, the court chose, and then put out another proposal for a different
Fiber.
segment.
Did Brinkley put that email out for the team with the recommendation, or did Sherman Moore? Do you remember?
It would have come from Jason, I think, Gary. He's the one who talked in court for our committee.
Because he gave us, they gave us an outline.
Commissioner Snuggs and I have met with him.
With Brinkley.
Jason Brinkley, yeah.
Yeah.
And he expressed why the committee chose the way they did.
Yeah, no concept, but they gave us step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Starting with the top of it being the microwave, and then it went down to, It was microwave and then fiber, is what it was. Anyway, we can resurrect that, and you guys can move forward if you would like, but
I like, boiling down to the idea about the money, that is a good thing, and we can, get past this court when we got a little more time and figure it all out, be a little more prepared.
But just something to, so we don't throw it on the back burner.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't see it coming from Brinkley for some reason.
Item number 18 is no action. Item 19, deliberate and consider possible landfills in Cooke County. Commissioner Sicking.
No action at this minute.
And item number 19 is no action. Then, item number 20. Commissioner Sicking.
Well, they should be starting on the asphalt around the parking lot there. Hoping this week, get that done, then we need to figure out what we're gonna do in the areas where we decided not to put the grass.
I'll look around and see where we can get some wash rock. We used to be able to get it out of, I bought it for my personal driveway out of Tri-County and Sanger. Creek rock is dust-free and looks pretty, but I don't know where we can get it now because that pit's closed to the best of my knowledge. I'll look around and see where we can get some hardscaping,
What about the stuff we used to
Instead of
chip seal
asphalt.
with?
That's not a bad idea
Yeah.
too, that
What's
small
that?
stuff.
That 5/8 granite that's
Red
different
granite.
colors that we chip seal with.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was just, in my brain, I had a bigger rock and
Yeah, but I mean,
I had people concerned with the rock, somebody picking it up and throwing them, the bigger ones. At least
these would be
chip
like
seal,
that.
That
Yeah,
would probably be
those-
a good idea.
red chip seal rocks from Mark Marietta are good size and they're pretty too.
Kind of match your handicap ramps.
Yeah, we need to, I think we should put down some black
I tell you what I got, guys, I've got probably a half of I probably got at least 6 yards sitting at the barn right now that it's been on the ground and we picked it up and didn't want to run through the chip spreader.
Yeah, that'd be
I've
good.
got some there at the yard too.
I mean, it might have a little grass, but it'd be pretty clean.
I'll have some left over from a job we're doing tomorrow. We can all
Lay some of that felt down, to keep the grass from growing up through
some type of barrier, yeah.
Probably be
I like the idea of the small chip rocks better. I just, in my brain, I have a different.
You talking
Oh.
about rather than the asphalt or
No, this is inside where where typically
inside?
grass
Okay,
would grow.
Gotcha,
But we decided against grass
Landscape.
for maintenance.
gotcha.
Yeah. You're thinking kind of river rock. kind of
I was thinking like a big river rock, yeah.
But somebody sure
That's-
enough might chunk that.
Yeah, they chunk these chip rocks, they're not gonna do much.
Yeah. They'll get tired before they.
People play for rock fight after. All right, item number 20 then, just an update, but no action this time. Item number 21, deliberate and consider possible action regarding real property on Highway 82. Commissioner Hollowell.
We'll get through budget and we'll get back on that. It just, budget's been,
Okay.
consuming a little time.
Item 21 is no action. Item 22, deliberate and consider possible action on the library facilities project. And Ms. Johnson Spence, you want to?
Yes, good morning again. Ricky's out at the sheriff's department. They don't have AC this morning, so he wasn't able to be here. We wanted to let you guys know that the carpet is completely installed on all areas. They finished the back staff work area last week, Wednesday and Thursday. The door has been installed in the director's area. The texture guy was wanting to wait until after the carpet because he said it's going to take him several times to come. So he still needs to come and texture the sheetrock area by that door frame and sliding door that Justin put in. We've contacted the painter and Jay's going to come and look. He will need to paint the closet doors that got installed early last week or late the week before. I'm sorry, it's kind of been one of those couple of weeks. But the closet doors are installed. They need painted, and the trim in the meeting room has some trim that still needs painted, and Jay will come and do some touch-up. The letterings, Ricky said for me to let you guys know, he does have 2 bids. One of them is to order the stuff online and then them install it, and he said that's a little bit cheaper, and it's actually what he would prefer, is that maintenance would do the installation of the letters. So that's where we're at. Basically, everything is done then, with the exception of those few. I'm gonna go to Home Depot today and get choose door handles that work for the cabinets that were built that match the others in there, so we can get that done too. Any questions? I think we're coming to a close pretty quick. We should
Okay.
be able to get it all in this budget year, from what I can see for what's left now, for sure.
Okay. So item number 22 was an update. Did you get all that, Pam? Otherwise, no action. Item number 23, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the annex election room remodel.
So they've got 3 doors installed, the one to the main voting area and then the double doors. And it's framed for the main door, and they've took out that big glass and got it framed up, so it's moving along really good.
Okay, it's
Looks
not
good.
complete yet?
It's not complete, no.
Okay,
They're waiting on a door, and they still have to paint and do texture and all that.
okay. Item number 23 is an update. Work is continuing, but otherwise, no action. Item number 24, deliberate and consider possible action regarding proposed way station. No action. Item number 25, deliberate and consider possible action regarding various grant funds.
No action.
Okay, item number 25 is no action. Item number 26, deliberate and consider possible action regarding Cooke County EMS and fire pager system.
I have no action.
We have
Okay,
any, did we get the repeater order?
Okay, here's the deal. First off, I got to give some shout outs to some people that helped us out. One being Sheriff Sappington with helping us to locate the water tower off Clark Road. That was something he was familiar with, and took us down there and served as liaison between us and the Mountain Springs Water Board. The Mountain Springs Water Board was kind enough to not only allow us to mount the equipment or give us approval to mount the equipment, they've agreed to do it for zero rent. So that's huge on their part. They're very proactive in the emergency services, and we very much appreciate everybody on that board. And Sheriff Sappington went down and met with them at their meeting last week, which is what we've been waiting on as far as approval. The repeater is ordered. He quoted that with a tripod tower, which will go up on the very top. I think we anticipated, or I anticipated, was going to mount it on the rail. The tripod will be much better because it's going to get us up higher and it won't be blocked from one side or another. The issue right now is the tripod that he quoted us is not in stock. I've asked him to get us a price difference on something that is in stock. For just a tripod mounts 3 magnets across the top, they still have access to their water tower. Pretty neat setup. He said it would take him about 20 minutes to do the licensing application for us.
Licensing.
Yeah, because see, we have to license that for that antenna, that stuff for that particular tower, because there's not one on it. But what I'd ask him to do is, let's put it up there, confirm everything's going good. So, don't have any reason at all to believe it's not going to perform well. So, that's, like I said, things are ordered with the exception of that antenna. We're trying to locate one sooner. And I need to get back with the board and be sure they're good with us putting it on the tripod instead of on the rail. Questions?
Nope.
Okay.
So would that be just an update, no action?
That's an update at this point, yes.
Item 26 is an update, no action. Item 27, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Crest building. We have an issue still with the elevator, which is being resolved at this time, I do believe. I think Rick's doing a good job getting the necessity for there was an issue in that the elevator had not been certified. The inspection had not been certified during the time that we owned it. I think we just about got them to understand that it is not on us. And the fact that we just got the elevator fixed and are about to get it certified and relicensed, then I think that's, hopefully that's going to take care of the issue.
And then the air conditioner issue is,
The air conditioner issue is ongoing. Yeah.
well,
So at this point, there's no action regarding the Crest building. However, that's once again an update. Item number 28, is consider and possibly approve any action regarding the FY24 proposed budget. First of all, I'd like to hear from TCOG. That's you, Eric.
Thank you.
Please identify yourself and tell us what.
Yes, good morning. I'm Eric Bridges. I'm the Executive Director of the Texoma Council of Governments. I appreciate the invitation to come talk to you. As you may or may not be aware, the contract for services that we have with Cooke County for rural addressing is set to expire September of this year. So what we endeavor to do every year is reach out to the Commissioners Court with any indication of any adjustment or increase that we're going to be proposing for the next contract period. So I had an opportunity to speak with the judge on a couple of occasions. And what I'm here to propose to you or to ask for your consideration is we're anticipating about, based upon an increase in activity that we've seen over the last 18 months, the number of rural requests for addressing and the time associated with those addressing requests has pretty much increased significantly. So we're asking for the court to consider a 10% increase in the addressing portion of your contract. There are two components to the contracting. There's the addressing component, which I believe is currently set at $23,840 per year. And then there's a $5,000 additional contract or portion of that that is set aside for a specific database with county-specified data sets that we maintain and update and provide. That 10% increase in the addressing component would equate to roughly, I want to say, a 7.4% increase in the overall budget to just over 31,000. So just over 31,000. So that's our request. That's from our perspective, the justification behind it. An increase in, again, as we're starting to see more property, more parcels come online. We've been noting that there's been an increase in the number of requests and the time associated with processing those requests. Not every application comes in pristine with all the information that we require, so there is quite a bit of back and forth time with staff and those that are applying. So again, we respectfully ask for your consideration in that request. If approved, then we will adjust our contract and provide that to the judge for ratification. If not, then we will continue to provide good faith effort with our existing relationship. It might result in additional time to process those applications. We work really hard to get applications that are complete done within 5 to 7 business days. But again, because of the increase in activity and the time associated with that, we're anticipating that's going to take a little bit more time. So, any questions?
Another dumb question here.
Yes, sir.
Eric, what would a 1-year delay on this?
I'm sorry?
What would a 1-year delay on this?
A 1-year
You would
delay?
continue, let me get this straight, you would still continue to do our addressing?
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason I'm asking this is, it's right in the final stages of the
Yeah,
budget and
sure.
everything else. Plans have essentially been made, one thing and another, to add on right here at this juncture is kind of an imposition maybe.
Sure.
But if you are capable of doing it, perhaps it is a little lengthier. Next year, if we got a better run at it, would that?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly not in any position to consider walking away from this relationship. This has been a great relationship. So, what it would likely result in is just because of the limited time, because we would not be able to provide additional staff time to this, it would probably result in the customer, in this case, the property owner that is submitting that application, it probably would extend the processing time by probably 5 calendar days.
Okay.
Just simply because we would be only able to provide X number of hours per week to be able to do that. But outside of that, the services are going to be the same. I don't foresee there being any other issues other than that.
Okay.
What was the actual
Go ahead.
request for increase, Eric?
What's that?
What was that?
31.
The actual request for increase was 10% over the rural addressing component to your current agreement, which currently is $23,840. So 10% of that added to the total contract of $28,840. I'm good at math, but that's too many numbers.
Didn't you mention 31,000 or?
Yeah,
That's the total, though. That's not the increase,
Well,
right?
that's the total.
Yeah.
That's the total.
So, I mean,
31
it looks like $2,300, 10% of
correct.
23,000. And then you want 10% of the 5,000 also?
Yeah, so that would equate to a total of 31,140 for the new contract.
Right, so it's about a $3,000, I mean, it's $2,800 increase or something roughly.
That's correct.
Okay, somewhere I'd heard 10,000 or something for something. That's what you'd heard something
I
like
had
that?
heard that too.
$2,800 roughly increase.
Yes, sir.
We can talk about that during budget, but
Yeah.
that's.
That's
How many subscriptions are we paying for? We've got some, is it CAD stuff or something? We're paying for some subscriptions, and how many of them are we really using?
Yeah, I think, I'd have to go back and check for sure, Commissioner, but I believe right now there's 14.
Is that part of that 5,000?
Yes, sir. I can confirm that. Let me step back on that. It may be more than that you have. 14 may be what you currently have active, but I can get you a definitive.
And I'd be curious, can you tell who has activity and who doesn't?
I'm pretty sure that we can do that, yes.
I'd be curious to know
Okay.
if we're actually utilizing that. There might
Yes,
be some
yes.
cost savings there if we're
Yes,
not.
sir.
Thank you.
I'm happy to follow up. Okay,
Thanks, Eric.
all right.
Any
Thanks,
other
Solomon, I
questions for
appreciate it.
Eric?
That over here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Who's going to speak? Would it be Blair? Blair, would you please come speak for Carol and for Metter Funeral Homes?
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Blair Brown, and I represent Carroll Funeral Home, and I'm joined by Bill Turrentine representing Metter Funeral Home. We appreciate the opportunity to discuss with you the work our two funeral homes perform for Cooke County. A brief summary of the services our funeral homes currently render to Cooke County: the removal of the deceased and transportation to the medical examiner, removal of the deceased and sheltering of remains when no autopsy is ordered, and the funeral homes provide a direct cremation, either for the families that qualify for Cooke County's disposition of indigent remains or for unclaimed remains. We work most closely with the two justices of the peace and occasionally seek assistance from the county judge. Historically, our two funeral homes have alternated monthly for first notification from the JP, but we certainly do assist each other from time to time when things get busy. Today, we would like to discuss the following items. We would like to begin a dialogue regarding the establishment of a list of procedures, or a book of rules, if you will. We will also discuss the compensation the funeral homes receive for the work they perform for Cooke County. This is an informative discussion. No one's upset about anything. No rules have been violated because there are no rules. No one owes anyone money. The county has always dutifully paid the monies that the funeral homes have requested for their services. To briefly encapsulate how we arrived here today, I believe that the work that we do for the county currently is a holdover from the old ambulance days. Why does the county contract with private businesses for this work, given your EMS infrastructure? We do it for the same reason we ran ambulances. There was no money to be made in ambulance calls, but it was a method of community exposure, and hopefully it would lead to the full service in the future. For decades, the funeral homes have willingly offered to the county their services at a break-even amount to extend goodwill to the community and promote our business. These calls turned into funerals. We get a little business, the county saves a little money, and there was justification for both parties involved. Unfortunately, the landscape of the death care industry and the society we live in today have made it difficult for our old motivations for this county work to hold any justification. We have prepared a list of evidence to support this belief, but I'll spare you from that at this particular moment, but it can be used to answer any questions you may have later. Your question now may be, Blair, how are changing trends in your industry any concern of the county's? In a nutshell, in times past, a much higher percentage of the calls we made for the county turned into services, where we were able to charge at least a portion of our basic service charge. This service charge is used to pay for our equipment, facilities, and overhead, including, most importantly, the skilled professionals that are on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, to respond in a timely manner to attend to the county's needs. If we're not being compensated on the back end by the families from their final services, then we must be compensated more for the work done directly for the county. We do not hesitate in making this request because we believe the county is currently equipped and capable of performing the same tasks that we execute on its behalf. In closing, we do want to continue serving Cooke County, and we would appreciate a detailed procedural manual based on knowledge and experience found on both sides of the table. Thank you for your attention, and I will now defer to Mr. Turntine to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
If I
sir.
close my eyes, I hear your dad. You ever heard that?
At a time or two, yes, sir. All right. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Bill Turntine, representing Metter Funeral Home.
All right, thank you very much and everything. I think that we had our special price list, and I believe is it necessary for us to give these to
If
you?
you would, just
All right, I'd like to do that. Give each one of these.
Thanks, sir.
And I had a question for Blair while you're doing that.
Okay.
Blair, you said we're capable of doing those same services for ourselves rather than, explain that if you would.
It's as simple, now,
How would we do that?
I'm sure there would be a little learning curve there, but nothing we do has to be done by a licensed funeral establishment.
Right.
We have the expertise and experience and equipment currently to perform these tasks for you. But I can't think of a single thing we do for the county that y'all would not be able to do for yourselves. Now, of course, we would love to continue things as the way they are. I believe our past experience has proven the benefit of contracting out to a more experienced professional. But not to say that y'all couldn't do it in a professional manner, but you know what I'm trying to say there. But it's as simple as removing the decedent, transporting to the medical examiner, and then even the indigent cremation can be done through the county judge's office. So more details than that, obviously.
So it would essentially be up to us just to figure out how much that would cost us to do those things.
That would definitely be one
In
option to
terms
consider.
of equipment, manpower, et cetera, okay?
I got a,
always offer to trade EMS our cost for theirs, but they decline. They enjoy their cost.
Right.
Fancy.
but what you're talking about services, you're talking about basically transport for autopsies. Right now, y'all pick them up at the location, y'all transport them
Yeah,
for
this-
autopsy.
What this is a special price list to Cooke County for transfer services, refrigeration, sheltering of remains, and indigent cremations.
And Commissioner Hollowell, there is an increasing amount of calls the county contacts us on for where just the piece does not order an autopsy, but they need the removal made in a timely manner. So that when you see sheltering of remains, that's what that consists of. Either the JP is released the remains to a funeral home of the family's choosing, or they've agreed to certify the death certificate themselves, no autopsy needed, or they've found a primary care physician that has agreed to certify. And we just shelter the remains until the family selects one of our firms or a firm out of town if they're not local.
But right now, storage, if the county was gonna do something like that, require refrigeration or something of that nature, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so you guys are not opposed to it. You're not saying get out of the business. You'd like to be compensated a little better for it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I kind of
George
think
Carroll just got an increase in August of last year.
Say that again.
George Carroll just got an increase of August of last year.
guys, I think unless there's going to be some significant impact to our budget, we ought to workshop this at some time other than this commissioners court meeting. I mean, rather than try to understand it. What, do you guys have a number you can give us? What do you anticipate it's going to cost us
Annually.
annually? In other words, what has it been and what's it going to be? I mean, best we can guess, so, because we're dealing with just numbers.
We can put our heads together, because we alternate monthly, so we can put our numbers together, just ballparking off the top of my head, I'd say 50 times a year. 50 to 60 times a year. We've combined our two firms, make a removal for the county. Again, some of it's transport to the ME, some of it's indigent cremation, some of it's pickup and hold. And for reference, currently, like an option one, what you see option one there, that would currently be like $250. Option two is currently at like $725 in reference to the increase last August that you just mentioned. So this is a significant increase, but I feel like I've offered the reason for that.
On option one, when the responsible party, if we make the removal and the responsible party chooses the funeral home that made the removal, there will be no charge to the county for option one. Option two is a different item. That's where we're transporting to the medical examiner. Typically, I think usually Dallas County.
Correct.
And everything, and there will not be any reduction in that fee or anything like that. And so you kind of understand option 3 and option 4, those are both indigent cremation, in addition to option 1 and in addition to option 2. So if we do provide either one of these services and then it's an indigent cremation, it'll be that up and above. And then on the back page, option 5, that is a indigent cremation to a qualifying Cooke County resident. If they didn't have the means to, for final disposition of the remains.
Did you go get a number, Shelley? Is that what you were doing?
what?
Specific to their services? You know what we're spending, or is it relevant in this conversation? What would be beneficial, I can't speak for the court, but what would be beneficial to me if you guys could scratch out a number that we can put in to anticipate annually for each of you? I mean, this costs per process, right, or per event, but for us to budget it, it would sure be nice to have a number based on your history and what you anticipate the increase to be.
It would have to be based on your history. No way you can.
We just look at 2022 and combine the two funeral homes figure.
Well, and then bump it 10% or something. I mean, you can't, it's not gonna be the same as last year. I mean, you can't predict the future, but you got some idea of what it's increased each
We'll
year.
just have to look and see what the volume was for like the last couple of 2 or 3 years and everything. We'll have to kind of research that a little bit.
We just need to be able to set aside,
Does that make sense to you?
$60,000
Versus what we've been saying.
as these issues come.
The one thing about in there, we can look back at some numbers and things like that, but a lot of times there's no way to call exactly what it's going to be or very close. It'd just be a
Guesstimate.
kind of
You're
rule
gonna
of
have
thumb.
to inflate it slightly, but,
I got you.
I mean.
We can look that up.
This is an incredible presentation for two businesses working together.
Yeah.
Kudos to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you much.
And as far as the procedure, I guess that would take you guys, the JP, somebody to put that together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the people involved, you guys see that any different? Any of you guys know enough about this to sit on a?
The procedure's pretty simple and everything. On the front page, it kind of explains that just a little bit, just to kind of help us staff. I think staffing is one of our big issues today, trying to make things work. But like I say, Carroll Funeral Home and Metter Funeral Home, we're going to work together to make sure the county's taken care of. And because not only would we have to take care of this, we have to take care of the families that call us. And as you know, it's not it's a 24-hour-a-day operation. And we also have some other funeral home locations where we do have the need. We can bring in some other help from like our funeral homes in Denison or Whitesboro or even McKinney and come up and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. It may take us a little time, but we'll get you taken care of. Yeah, that's the main thing.
We've already started doing that, by the way.
What?
We had a meeting the other day.
Yeah, okay, but
These people, Carol Johnson and myself, So I would be the logical person here to, because of my past JP time as well as connection to this board, unless you disagree.
Oh,
Unless you want to do it.
all I'm concerned about is the numbers. I mean, we gotta have something to plug in that makes
Well, that's-
sense. I
see,
mean,
one of the things that's tough about this is not, this is an area where the JPs are the ones that have to decide whether or not to send for an autopsy, for instance. And we don't ever want to get to the point where we don't do that to save money.
yeah.
It always wants to be in a, well, believe it or not, that happens.
Yeah, I would suggest that Judge Henry be involved in that too. He'd be a player there.
Oh, well, absolutely. The
Yep.
two JPs, myself,
I know for a while, if you were over
Personnel.
65 and you died, you just
Yeah.
died from natural causes, I think.
both JPs need to be there.
There was recent talk on my listserv about what did all the counties pay for as far as transport and things like that, and so I got to looking into hours, and we only pay for the most part, the transports that go for autopsies. There are like, there were 4 in FY '22 we paid that didn't go for autopsy, and there were 3 in FY '20.
Is that because they didn't charge them, or was that the activity?
Well, the JP orders were to take them and hold the remains. And I assume
That would be like option one.
the family,
The family maybe chose our funeral home and there was no charge to the county.
but we paid the transport bill.
Yeah, well, in that case, they probably didn't, they used another funeral home or something like
Yeah.
that. They may have been from out of town or something.
Well, an example, years ago, there was an accident that involved a lady that was, well, she was a South American resident, okay? And before you could go through all of the different embassies and one thing and another to get word back, she had to be transported to a facility where she was basically, determination was made what to do with, her family members. And it was a long ordeal, and other considerations there, storage.
But my question on the ones that don't go for autopsy is why are we responsible for the bill? Why didn't the family pay for the pickup all the way through?
Well, I think that, once again, we don't know why, or we don't know which ones of those are gonna be indigent, for instance, or which ones of those are gonna be.
Well, I mean, that, we're not deciding indigency. We
Oh, I
only
know
pay for
that.
the transports that go for autopsies.
The only time I could see that we would do that is if the funeral home, other than the one they chose services for.
Well, this is just paying, we only pay them.
What?
We're only paying Carol and Metter. So if the family, if they're not indigent, the family decide, what brought this up is we had got a bill, that's on court today, the last couple of weeks, to hold the body for transport to Paris, Texas. And so, we paid the transport to pick up from the location to the funeral home, but why wasn't the family responsible for
If they held it because of the delay, is that,
the whole bill?
And to
So-
address that particular matter, we could save the county a lot of money with this book of procedures. That caller out there is a perfect example on something the county should not be paying for. But we were contacted by the county to make the removal. If the family is requested to make a decision on a funeral home, the county says, we have no reason to order an autopsy. We are releasing this case to the funeral home of the family's choosing. And then either Now, we may end up making the removal for the funeral home in Paris, but we're working for that funeral home, not for Cooke County. So
I think at the
that's
time.
another thing that can be addressed in this list of procedures, kind of tighten things up a little bit. Save the county a little money on that.
It sounds like Shelley has some knowledge. She probably needs in that meeting too.
Well, I think at the time, the decedent, it was unknown where the family was.
She had a cousin or a sister-in-law or somebody was there. He was in a trailer on his family member's property, and they had made contact with the mother.
Okay.
I mean, I would think if I pass, you guys, one of you show up to pick me up, you transport me to whatever, county shouldn't pay that. My family's gonna pick up that tab.
Well, and like I said, I've only found 4 instances in FY '22 and 3 in FY '21 where we paid a bill that didn't go for autopsy.
That sounds,
And non-autopsy.
So I was assuming we paid a whole lot more, but we don't.
If the family is there or the responsible party, the JP's there talking with the family, they need to ask the family what funeral home they want to use, and then that they would be responsible for paying that funeral home. It wouldn't be the county. Now, like say where the county calls us because they have remains that's unidentified or they can't find the family and things like that. It may be that the family uses us and there's no charge, but then for us to be able to provide the service to the county and everything, we have to be compensated for those situations and everything. Like I say, the environment we have in Cooke County, one thing that kind of has brought things along is, as you know, these areas are growing. Cooke County's growing. You got a lot of new people here and everything like that, and it's an influx of people, so it's kind of changed our dynamics a little bit of the way things were working.
And other counties did mention that their JPs asked the family, what funeral home do you want us to contact?
That's standard procedure.
It may be,
Should
it may be Medgar Funeral Homes Month, but the family may choose to use Carroll. So, but you have to have that conversation with the family so they can make that decision themselves, and then it's not a burden on the county.
sound like just,
But yeah,
yeah.
I've recently done that.
Yeah,
But
you
we're gonna
probably-
help the county out when
Before
they're,
that,
when
before
you're in it.
this.
We want to help the county when the county is in a difficult situation and everything, so, you know, and everything. But like I say, there's a little compensation for that, for our staff and time and everything like that.
I can't imagine us wanting to get in the refrigeration business,
No.
anything like
No.
that, so.
Years ago, in our industry, we did not have refrigeration in our funeral homes, but now we do. So, like I say, the landscape changes, the cost to operate increases because we've added several refrigeration units. You have to maintain them, insure them, and they take up space in your building, or you have to build a new facility to house those.
Yeah. I think we need a number.
Just kind of a number, we'll kind of go back and get a number of what went on in the last couple of years, how many calls we made, how many trips to the medical examiner's office and things like that, kind of put that together, and that'll just give us an idea of what this would probably.
Just like you would your home budget or y'all's business budget,
Yeah.
you know, what's it gonna cost me next year?
Yeah.
You know, so we know what to set aside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll help y'all get that done.
Yeah, I mean,
do that.
because right,
Well, we have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday, do we not?
Certainly
we-
can if you want.
I think we did, or I think we decided on that, so let me get with you
Tuesday.
after this.
It was Tuesday, tomorrow, but we
Tomorrow,
can,
okay. For right now, let's plan on still making that meeting. Commissioner Hollowell has a good idea there. I think we need to kind of workshop it a little bit and see what we need to do. In fact, he can join us if he wants to.
you bet.
Would you like to be part of that?
you got Shelley and you guys, 2 JPs, I don't know that, nope, Shelley said she's, yeah,
I'm gone
oh,
tomorrow.
okay. All right.
It's up to you. That doesn't make any difference. I'll get with them out.
Yeah.
We'll workshop, we'll meet again tomorrow unless we talk otherwise. And
I think it was 10 o'clock, correct, Blair? 10
Okay.
o'clock tomorrow?
Same place.
That'll work.
All right.
Thank y'all much.
That give y'all
Thanks a lot.
time?
Appreciate it.
guys.
Thank y'all much.
As far as getting all those numbers, would I be able to email Chelsea and she distribute that to all the necessary parties?
But that gives y'all time to get the numbers?
Oh, yes. So that's-
Or if tomorrow's too soon, if we need to put it off, you know, there's no hurry on this thing.
I beg the difference.
Yeah. What, Shelley?
Let me ask, Scott had a question and everything. I think there's a state law or something, I don't have it with me or anything, but when a justice of the peace, you know, when they order an autopsy and transportation and everything to the medical center, I believe that has to be picked up by the county, I believe, correct? However you do it and everything, so.
You mean the fee to go
Yeah,
to
Scott,
that?
Scott was asking that, and he says, he said, I thought that question came up.
Well, that is because the main reason they do that, first of all, is JP's responsible for the death certificate. And probably the only way you're gonna get an accurate death certificate is through the audit process. And so that's the biggest reason for sending one for an autopsy to start with.
I think we pick up the fee though, because we're,
And we pick up the fee
Yeah,
for those. That's to be understood.
understood, yeah, and they had a question about that, thought that somebody maybe didn't understand that, but I just
No,
wanted
I don't think
just
we
want to
did.
verify.
and we hadn't seen that many
there
suits in
is-
this office.
Okay, now there is one exception to that. Let's say, for instance, the JP decided no autopsy was necessary. But then the family came back and said, but we want an autopsy because it goes back to, you know, what else somebody in the lineage might expect, or, you know, or conditions or that sort of thing. In that case, then the family should pick up the tab for that.
Yes,
But does the JP still have to order that, Judge? The
JP
JP
still
orders
has
it
to
at the
order, yeah.
request. Yeah.
A family can contract with a private pathologist.
For private, yeah, but I'll tell you what, well, I'll tell you privately what that gets us into.
all right. Anything else? We're good?
Thank y'all very much.
All right,
Thank you. Appreciate you guys working together.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
Like I said, I thought it was the IRS when all them suits come in. Never seen that many suits here before.
Men in black. Okay. So that is the lead-in of the discussion on the FY24 proposed budget, item number 28. Do we anticipate much time on this, or, in other words, do you guys want to break for lunch, or do you think we can knock it out right away? And neither thing right here is gonna affect this budget consideration and stuff.
You know, I would think we're pretty close to knocking it out.
You think so? Okay.
Just real quick, you never said no action on A or B, or wasn't on that?
No action on A or B.
Thank you.
Other than, I'll now disregard that. Item number B will be continued meetings. So we probably ought to go ahead and vote on that. Did you want to make a motion on that? It was your idea to
I don't
workshop
know.
it?
I don't know what kind of motion I'd make, Judge, to handle that. I don't know that there is a
Say there's no action until they come back with some numbers.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that,
All right.
I mean, you'll coordinate the meetings and stuff, make that happen, and then.
That's right.
Yeah.
Item number 28, A and B, no action.
I'll make a motion on A.
Okay.
I make a motion that we grant the 10% additional that they want. That's a small price to pay. We couldn't staff that office for anywhere near that and have all that software and computers. And that's a large undertaking, especially with everything we've got going on right now in Cummins. I make a motion, we put that 10% in for TCOG.
Okay, item number 28A, the TCOG, motion, Commissioner Snuggs, that we go ahead and pay the additional 10% requested by TCOG to be included in this year, in the FY24 budget. Is that correct? Do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Arndt, heard first.
Discussion when you get time, when you get
Go.
ready. Might be okay to budget it, but not approve the expenditure yet. Let's see how many subscriptions we got out there that we're paying for that we're not using. Because that may reduce part of that 5,000 number,
And that works too.
you know.
In
other words,
asked him to chase that number down.
I mean, I think what we decided is $2,800 with the 5,000, but let's consider allotting the money, but, before we pay that bill, you know,
That's fine.
just straight up, let's,
I can modify that motion to
Yeah.
allow for that.
Go
You
ahead.
got that? She's got the modification.
Second, good.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt, all in favor? Aye. And 28A passes 5-0. Do what?
I meant 29.
I'm,
That's on 28.
well, I think we're still on 28, aren't we?
Are we
Yeah.
still on 29?
You can do 20, you can do 28.
We're still discussing possible action on the proposed budget, which is 28.
is it two different agenda items? Is that what you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Online,
Yeah.
unless I got it wrong.
For,
I think you've got maybe the tabs for that stuff or something. So it's 29.
29 is once we have nailed it down again.
Yeah.
Hey.
Y'all just don't have the 29 tab.
Once we have discussed proposed changes that we're going to include here, then item number 29 will approve the
Robert, you
proposed.
just said 28, so I'm just making it clear that we're
Yeah.
on 29.
We're on 28.
28, Pam, we're discussing changes to the budget. 29 is to vote.
Approve it.
To
Okay, so
propose the budget as stated.
to approve the proposed budget. Okay, got it.
All right. Yes, I did. I came up with a total of $8,806 that we can reduce from various offices. I can list them if you want me to, or
well, that's still 42,000 above last year.
say again.
That's still 42,000 above. Yeah, that's still pretty significant, but
I want to hear which ones.
Okay, let's run right down. County judge, reduced to 1,000, reduced, as omitted $686. County clerk from 4,000 to 1,500.
look, hang on. I had the county clerk from 5,500 and you're taking her to what?
To 1,500, not to 4,000, I'm sorry, which reduces hers 1,500.
Okay.
Discussion? Okay, compliance from 2,000 to 1,500, 500 off. The district clerk from 8,000 to 7,000, reduced 1,000. JP1 from 6,000 to 4,800, 1,200. Treasurer from 3,600 to 3,350, reduced 250. Fire marshal from 1,500 to 1,200, reduced 300. The SO, the first line, 7,000 to 6,000, 1,000 off. The jail, 8,670 to 6,500, 21,170 savings. And emergency management, $1,500 to $1,300, $200.
Did you get the district judge?
No, I didn't.
Huh?
What did we decide on the?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I swear your email said clerk.
District judge.
Yeah, but she's, yeah.
So this district clerk one is not right. Should be district judge.
On my list, I'm showing district judge, then district clerk. You even got a copy of the list, Shelley?
No, but Judge Haverkamp told me she could reduce hers $1,000.
But
From-
I think the district clerk did as well.
But, okay, but the difference is the district judge is going from 2 to 1, Shelley? Is that what I'm hearing? Or she's showing, like, district judge, I've got 2,000 and 3,000 on when I went and looked at the sheets.
She has 3. She has herself, her coordinator, and her court reporter.
Okay, but I got 2 different entries. I show there was one for a request for 2,000 and a request for 3,000. Like she's got 2 different line items.
She has 3.
Just 3 different line items?
Yes.
Okay, I just,
She has 5,000 for herself, 2,000 for a court reporter, and 3,000 for a court coordinator.
Okay, we didn't have that 5,000 on this. That's what we didn't have.
yeah.
Is that what you said?
She'll take her court reporter down to 1,500 and her court coordinator down to 2,500.
Okay. Have you included those in those numbers there? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right, anybody else see anything that needs to be changed?
You got down to,
Emergency management,
see, I don't even have,
it's not even on the list.
not even on the list, yeah.
It's all right.
Let me go up under here under fire marshal and put emergency management. He went from what to what?
1,200, I'm sorry, 1,500 to 1,200.
So 1,200 in each line item on his. What's interesting is those that already had pretty conservative numbers reduced theirs, and those that had large numbers done very little.
Right.
District clerk was at 8,000, dropped to 7,000, even though historically it appears we spent 2,639. JP's got several employees. County attorney at 12,024 versus 7,400. Did any of that? You get any comments on any of those?
Yes, asked and didn't feel like they could come down.
Okay, and the district attorney at 24,000.
Didn't feel like they could come down.
Okay. Tax assessor collector at 8,000, which is twice what it's typically been.
Right?
Yeah. Libraries at 6,000.
Too bad.
Did we say no more out-of-state travel for conferences? For the librarian, only law enforcement? Not the librarian, but the library operations.
I want to say that we have said that. I don't know that officially.
Prior to Judge Ron.
Do what?
I was thinking we talked about that prior to you.
That
Yeah.
could be.
But we didn't do anything about it.
We didn't change anything in our handbook or
Well, on
SOP.
travel, we don't know that we have to. Well, we may have to change SOP, but I mean,
I don't remember what we did, but we did talk about it there for a while to only let, if the only option is to get that if it can be gotten inside the state. That was,
and there's something, well, and see, now I think we have 2 that's actually going out and presenting at these meetings, and they may have to discontinue that service.
no,
Yeah.
library.
Yeah, I mean, and there was 1,000 moved out of it this year to go cover some furniture expenses and stuff. Guys, I think I've said enough, but I don't. We're still $42,000 over what we typically spend. And so, and Judge, thank you for going out and attempting. But like I said, it looked to me like those that had conservative budgets were more than accommodating, and those that had huge budgets, if we don't want to arbitrarily cut them, then
I'll cut 2,000 from mine.
2,000, all right. From 12 to 10,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. How about you, Commissioner Hollowell? What do you want to cut out of yours?
what do you want to cut, Judge? Mine's 4,000 every year, and I've had probably as many hours to get as any of the rest of them.
I don't. I trust what you put in there.
Well, it's not that I don't trust these others, Judge. It's just,
I
you know,
understand.
that's just huge increases for travel.
You guys are the ones that have to answer for these a lot. Well, we all do. So I think ours are probably pretty close.
Nothing, I'm not sure. I think mine's about 4,000, but I don't think I've spent it in a period of time. Of course, it's coming out of a different fund other than general fund too. I think I got about $1 million in savings that made my fund balance. So
Okay, so what does that total up to now then? I haven't kept track.
Shelley gave up 2,000 in addition. So where were you, 4,200, now you're at 6,200 or something?
Do what now?
What number did you start off with? What'd you say you saved?
8806,
Okay, so you saved,
10806 now with Shelley's,
yeah, that'd be kind of what so,
but it seemed like we had something else. Did you, I believe,
Oh,
Shelley,
Shaw.
didn't you say district judge
Oh.
would come down some on hers?
$1,000
Okay, on the 5,000.
from,
7, wasn't it, and come down 5. It's $1,000 any way you look at it, regardless of which of the 3 line items.
Right. That makes it 11,806.
Yeah. Cut it about 20%.
Right.
she has 10. So she's coming down 1,000 to 9.
Right. Okay. Okay, anything else on that?
Did anybody talk to the child welfare?
No, I did not.
That was, like I said, $13,086, I think, and they've spent $3,879. But that's not conference. Let's not confuse that. That's just their line item. Period. Was not conference.
Right. Okay.
So what? I was going to ignore you, but
Yeah, you always ignore me.
you added 552K to what?
420,500 for the tax appraisal district's budget, and 131,500 for our collections contract with them. They just passed their budget last Thursday.
But that's actually increased their budget by that much? 420?
We have to fund their budget, all the taxing entities, that's.
But our part of it's
That's our part,
420,000.
yes.
Gosh.
It's not an increase of that much, it's just,
No, it is an increase from this year.
the increase 400.
No, that's that's our, this year I budgeted 409,100.
Oh, so it's $11,000
But
increase.
it wasn't in the budget at all.
Oh,
I hadn't put it in there because I didn't have the numbers.
okay.
Ouch.
And we wonder how we get up there to that 5 million.
So, I mean, the numbers I sent y'all earlier has it in there.
But these sheets you sent us at 3:02 a.m. while you were burning the midnight oil are accurate. Thank you for staying up for us. We much appreciate
Other
it.
than these changes y'all have done today.
We better look close, because, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wish you hadn't woke me up, my phone dinged.
I would have called you. Oh, I did? Oh, good. I should have called you. I reduced the jury budget some. I reduced, the district grand jury budget from 12,000 to 10, the district pettit jury from 42,000 to 30, and the county pettit jury from 13,000 to 5. And I reduced the special district judge from 5 to 3,000.
Is that jury money primarily spent for?
This is all general fund. That's
I mean,
it.
but what do they use?
Oh, the grand jury's to pay the grand jurors, and the jury money is to pay the sitting
Pay the-
jurors.
Okay, pay the jurors.
And they got a significant increase this year over last year, did they not, Shelley?
Yes,
If you
but the
actually-
state is supposed to be reimbursing us to keep it the same that the $60 that we've always paid.
But there was an increase in that, and there was also, if you got selected, the daily increase was pretty good,
Yes,
wasn't it?
and
Pretty
the-
significant.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was, but it went up to,
but there's, the compensation is going up with that increase.
the state's compensation to us, where you're headed with that, yeah. Do you know what it is now per day? What it went to? Oh, $50 or $60?
First day at
40.
42, 40. No, Terry, we haven't had one in so long. I think it is 40. And they're going up to 52.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the reimbursement will increase with that amount, where, I mean, the county is still responsible for $6 for the first day and $12 for any day after that? Or 10?
Increase?
Yeah, well, no, just the county's responsible for,
Oh. I
Is
don't
it
know,
$12
because I
the
just
second
turned it
day?
in. I don't know
Yeah.
what the split is there.
and then I need to increase the library's budget. I didn't know how much the furniture was and the shelving. I put 13,000 in, and she tells me it's 14,450. So I need to add, get a calculator that works. I need to add 1,500 to her budget, because she'll order it, but it won't come in, so I have to roll the PO over. and that will go in, machinery and equipment, non-capital, 650-457. So TCOG wants to raise their budget to 31,140.
Right.
That's in contract services and non-departmental.
Yes. Was he still here when we made that determination, or had he already gone?
He left.
Okay.
But he owes us some numbers as far as statistic, or the
Right.
software, how much software.
Outside of these changes includes a 3% for everybody, and then the SB 22 grant as stipends that also covers the fringe. And the
We
revenue.
didn't think it covered the fringe.
Huh?
We originally didn't think it covered the fringe.
And the revenue is in, so it should be a wash. So you, depending on which tax rate you choose, you see, the deficit.
Was there a summary with the drawn to unused?
What are you looking at, Bubba?
Was there a summary
Yeah.
with the unused?
Shelley,
Yes?
on your general fund up here, on your revenue line, with no new revenues, it's 6.3.
It looks like you've got one column missing.
Voter approval rate is the other. Now then, the number you have here that we deplete to 5.8, is that with VTR with unused increments?
No, you're missing a column, which is the VATR with unused.
Okay, and what's it,
The, deficit funding, 5,539,247.
5,539,247?
And what number is that?
That would be, if you had this column over here, it would be that number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can find it. Let me go.
Find your email.
Let me go back to my email. Because you're right, I'm missing a column.
Yeah.
Internet back up, I wonder. So to get to the unused, we're taking back part of what we didn't collect over the last.
Year,
2 years, 3
this number
years.
takes all of it.
It takes it all, but how we got that unused is because we didn't take our, I hate to use the term 3.5% because it's not really 3.5%, but that's what that's about.
We haven't taken any unused increments since the new tax calculation went into effect.
And somewhere I have, what's our current tax rate, Shelley?
3993.
That's the total, all of them added together? And we'd be going, if we done that, to 3243.75.
It's 3243.
I subtracted the 3243 from the 3993. So we're still,
Is that all the proposed budget changes, by the way?
Mine,
Any of them?
I don't have any others.
Okay. Anybody else have any proposed budget changes?
0.3364, sorry.
yeah, okay, it's currently 3364,
Everything.
and we're going with 30. I mean, if we go to the highest, we're going to 3243.
Yes.
We're doing some math here.
So,
Do what?
Doing some math to try to figure out what rate.
oh, I mean,
Go ahead.
it's here for us as far as, there's our three choices, 0.3113, 3189, or 3243.
Or somewhere in between.
Or somewhere in between. At 3189, it generates 444,783. At 0.324, it generates 768,2270.
Well,
What number are you reading off?
All right, if we go with no new revenue rate, it generates 12060481, okay? If we go with 3189, you subtract what that would generate, what no new revenue rate would generate, how much less? And that, or more, it's 444,788. And then if you go to the unused increments, it generates $760,822.70. Shelley, what, dang. Oh, what, do we know, what'd you estimate on new bills?
It's on that sheet.
New bills, new value, 161.5 something, okay? So it's already in that number,
Yeah.
okay? In all three numbers.
Just when you were reading the numbers, you were reading it fast, and I wasn't following
I
the breakdown.
treat, I
okay,
highlighted them.
are we through with item number 28? And 29.
Did it help if I go back to my,
Probably.
Because we're kind of on 30 right now.
No, you're not, you hadn't done 29.
I know, I say, are we ready to close it out?
No, because I haven't gotten you a number yet.
Okay.
To set a public hearing on a budget.
Wait a minute. Say that again, please.
You don't have a budget number to
Right.
set a public hearing for.
Okay, so we can't do it,
Huh?
we're just waiting on her, she's about to give it to us, right?
I'm trying.
Yeah. we realize we approve these numbers for these departments, they spend it.
You can make changes up until you vote it, but adopt it.
That don't seem right. You said we was gonna get this done right quick and you're eating and I have to watch. You feel bad?
I'm about to fall out.
Chocolate to give you a little energy. She's still there.
We just can't generate much money. Over what we're generating right now.
That's right.
That's all we need. Give them all back. While we're waiting, can y'all sign them?
Quite a few of them there.
These two have signed. Contracts with all these entities, just the judge has to sign.
$28,732,250.
Repeat that, Joe.
28,732,250.
And that number is the what?
General fund,
28732-250.
28732,250.
28732-250. That's all in millions.
Get me choked up.
Which was 2836254.
Yes.
Just a $4,000 increase in that? Am I looking at something wrong, Shelley? 4,000 increase when you got done?
Some of these I've already included.
But I'm $4,000 versus what you show us on the, from 736 to 732? Or 732 to 736?
$4,004.
Okay, yeah, okay, just making sure, double checking my numbers.
You know, what increase was that? I'm sorry.
It reduced what I sent you earlier, by $4,004.
Okay.
That makes your deficit $5,535,243.
$5,000,000.
535,243.
Let me see where I'm at over here.
So that should be $4,004.
That's fine now.
Are you through, Shelley, or you?
Yes.
Okay. We ready for item 28?
29.
We haven't done 28 yet. No.
That's what we've been working
I
on.
know, but we haven't voted on it one way or another. Item number 28, consider and possibly approve any action regarding the FY24 proposed budget. And we did make a couple of decisions, notably 28A. So, do I have a motion that we pass 28?
Do you want to say include the reductions in
Yeah, I
mentioned
think so.
conferences?
I think so, including, and actually including any changes that we made to the proposed budget, and including the proposed changes to the conference numbers that we had previously been requesting. Do you have all that, Pam?
Include the changes discussed plus the
The
reduction in
conference reduction, yeah.
Anything y'all discussed.
And
You're
the-
okay with me typing it that way, or?
And the 28A TCOG, because that's already in there,
Yeah,
but
we already did a motion.
it's part of it.
That was a motion?
Need a motion?
No, oh, I thought you did motion.
Oh, I'll make
Second.
the motion. Second, Commissioner Snubs, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. We have passed item number 28, 4-1. The nay. Commissioner Hollowell. Were you an aye or a nay? You were an aye. Was that a late aye or an early nay?
I was a nay.
So you're naying on the proposed budget?
I'm naying on the proposed budget.
Okay. I thought I heard
Not
aye.
the
I'm
proposed
sorry.
budget, just the changes.
Right, just the changes.
Yeah.
We're just doing the changes, right?
Yeah, well, the proposed, that's item number 28, right? Item number 29, consider and possibly approve the proposed budget.
Of $28,732,250.
Do I hear a motion?
I guess I got lost.
Okay, in item number 28, we made changes to what we already had here, right?
Correct.
Any changes that needed to be made, like the conference, like anything else. After we got through making those changes, we basically approved those changes, okay? That's item 28. Now we go to item number 29, which is, now that those have been approved, Okay, those changes have been approved. Now we're going to approve what has come forward as the proposed budget.
Well, it's the amount, and then you gotta set a public hearing.
Right.
Public, the amount, what did you say?
You've come to the other proposed budget, it's been a work in progress, and now you have an amount. Now you set, the next couple of agenda items, you will set a public hearing for the budget.
I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion, we pass item number 29. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snubs. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. We have passed item number 29, 4-1. Commissioner Hollowell being the nay. Now, item number 30. Consider and possibly approve the proposed tax rate.
What's our rate gonna be? Depends on we want to go up above the no new net revenue, which I feel like we have a choice. Do you have the printout? You got it, you on the screen, okay.
What do you need, this?
No, I've got it.
You want this?
Yeah, that's it. Just take a stand at some of the things that were sitting in there.
Conference expenses and numbers don't matter. That kind of thing.
I mean, the big decision is if we're gonna try to bump the rate. I know it's a miserable decision. It's been really,
Right now?
it's been an easy decision for the last few years to sit back and do the no new revenues, but
Sure.
we've backed ourselves into a corner. So even though we can't generate a whole lot more money, I feel like we need to generate a little more money. I wish our new builds would have been a lot more to help with the increased cost to run the government, but they weren't. Hopefully that number trends a different way.
Yep.
The best you can do, $760,822.70, which will deplete your fund balance by $5,539,247.
It's a big number.
Both of them.
You know, it's like I said at our last meeting, I think the budget for 2025 starts as soon as this one's approved and moved on, we got some places we need to clean up this,
Oh,
try to run more
absolutely.
efficient. You know, and
Absolutely.
the prime example of it, like, you know, like conference expenses, I mean, there's gonna have to be some people, you know, that's just a small part of it, but like, we're gonna need help from every office in here to see
right.
exactly how we can clean up and run more efficiently over the next 3 years, or we're gonna be,
Well, that 40 or 50,000 in conferences doesn't sound like much, but then, you know, it's not gonna get any cheaper next year. I mean, when we can't look them in the eye and tell them no,
and that's what I'm not saying that that's the problem, it's just that that's what we're gonna have to.
Well,
be
but that's-
every single line item.
but that's every event during the next year in court. If we could be able to say, commissioners tell them no every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll get somebody wants the road paved every day. You know, and we got to look at statistics and numbers and, you know, that stuff, that matters. I mean, as to how we place our personnel and how we don't. You know, we could get hit again for another 176,000 for records preservation. You know, if we get another opportunity to increase revenues by 9.8 million, we probably need to think about that. Those things all drive these budgets.
Say that.
But you get another opportunity for something like the 9.8 million that we, over the next 25 years, you know, those kind of things we need to consider before we just ignore attorneys when they say, hey, you need to go get this looked at.
Several things we need to do.
So if we don't, we could use some of these unused increments over this year if they weren't used, probably the way the math figures up to
Well,
me.
here's the numbers. If you don't use the unused increments generate you, whatever that is, $316,000, which makes up for some of what hasn't, well, makes up for all of what hasn't been used in the last 2 or 3 years. Got any suggestions, Judge?
I'm going to kind of defer to those that were here before this year,
Why is that?
because there's a little more knowledge in how we got here than,
Well, we're not in a bad spot, just everything
No, I
goes.
didn't say we're in a bad
Right, but
spot.
everything goes up, that's just
That's
it.
right.
And we've just kept the tax rate low. We've
But-
done a good service, we just, you know, expenses go up.
but I've always said the easiest thing is your second year, because that way you're working on things you did your first year. First year is hard because you're working on what everybody else did.
I was gonna do
What's
some math
crazy,
on
at the 3,243,
we-
we're going down .121 on the tax rate.
Yeah,
Is that what you're about to do?
I was
I
gonna,
mean,
do-
but
I was
the
gonna do
appraisal-
what it cost.
The appraised values are,
We're going down on the tax rate, but yeah.
yeah,
it's
but
still
appraised value's going up.
Yeah, it's a tax.
And of course, it's never a good time, but if the voters
You ready to
pass
jump out
the,
there, Matt? You ready to jump out there?
if the voters pass the increase to the $100,000 tax exemption, and I believe that comes up in November, I think it's gonna have less impact on their tax bill this year.
Say now,
In other words, they're gonna go from a $40,000 homestead exemption right to $100,000. Well, it won't, that's schools though, so really it doesn't,
it doesn't bother us.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
bother us, but
But they will have less of a tax bill,
that's right.
which helps, but there's never a good
It
time
helps.
to go up. So, I mean, the bottom line is, you go with no new revenue, you deplete your fund balance by 5.8 million. If you go with the voter-approved rate with unused increments, you deplete it by 5.5, so that's a $300,000 difference roughly. I ain't making, I might be wiggling or something, but I ain't making no motions.
Because there's words you have to say.
Yeah, I'm moving,
What?
There,
I'm moving my fingers on the screen, but that's not a motion.
Say the last one?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, you're saying between this one and this one, it's 300,000.
I'm saying between this one and this one, or same difference, it's all, I mean, well, it's, no, wait a minute. No new revenues, you gotta go deplete it by 6 million.
Okay.
6.3 if you go with no new revenues. If you go with the 3.3189, which is the voter approval rate, you deplete it by 5.855 million. And if you go with the unused increments and take advantage of what we didn't increase, what we're allowed to increase, because we didn't take it over the last 2 or 3 years, you deplete your fund balance. You go, actually your tax rate goes down and you still increase your, or decrease your fund balance by 5.5 million.
And it's just, it's not even, it's a little over a penny.
What? Where you getting over?
Between, I'm talking, it's a little over a penny between the last rate and this rate.
Oh, as far, yeah, and this one's still under last year. It's
No.
not a penny.
no, this year's rate, what we're talking, what we're in right now, and next year's rate, 3364 where we are now, 3113 brings in the same money. There's no
Right.
penny difference.
Yeah. Yeah. What he's saying is from 3113 to 3243 is what he's saying, but.
Right.
Oh, this is a touch over, 1.3 of it. It's 1.3 penny.
I thought I put 1.21 is what I got earlier for some reason. Oh, I took 3364 and subtracted, which is where we are now. I took 3364 and subtracted 3243. What'd you do?
I did this and this.
Yeah, but see, that's not last year's rate. This 31 something generates what 3364 generated last year.
Okay. You did it. I'm just doing,
Yeah, I thought I got one. Oh, okay.
so we're going up a penny. If we do this, we're going up a penny. Thoughts? Heard on the radio this morning where Collinsville School is gonna go after 50 cents just for their bond. This is a penny. It's still a hard decision.
It's tough.
Collinsville School's on the edge of my precinct.
Yep.
What do y'all think? Tuffy.
Wait for a recommendation.
I don't think we have a choice other than to go with the, bump it up a little bit. Otherwise, we're gonna dipping more into savings, and then we need to tighten up and start cutting fat. And it's gonna be a hard job. We just need to see. I talked to some city of Gainesville officials. You know, they pay to have a study done to see where they can run more efficiently. I'm not into paying more money because I think we can do it ourselves. I think the budgeting job for the 2025 budget is going to be one of the toughest budgeting sessions of.
I personally don't
Recent
think
years.
we can, the difference in us and the city, they can pay somebody and they can find suggestions and they can implement them. Okay, where if we spend a bunch of money, they gave us suggestions, short of us controlling the money, you
Right,
can't
that's
control
what-
an
that's what I'm
elected,
saying.
it'd
We
be a
need-
waste of money for an
Yeah.
assessment.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to pay for it. I'm just saying that was brought to
But,
mind.
but if we do it, we gotta make tough decisions with which are not popular.
And that's what our job is.
And right now, we've not, I mean, it's just like the conference stuff this time. We couldn't do it this time. So I don't have any reason to, I'm not optimistic.
One of these best serves,
We mean best service.
I mean, most,
Cost of government's going up
sure it is.
to serve the public. It goes
None
up.
of them best served, I guess.
We're gonna use more of our savings to stay here, and stay here, and it's just it's a penny difference. And I say that lightly, but I mean, it's,
I would say that, more of our savings
okay, with that thought, what are we gonna do?
and do what,
What do we do next year?
and we'll make it up, try to make it up this year. We've already talked about it. Cuts here and there, and there's bound to be some new revenue in some areas. So this year, just, I think that would be a popular thing
Year
anyway.
to year, it's
All right, let me make a move.
$500,000.
Let me make a move, and y'all can,
Here's a
you- if you recommend the 3243, which is voter approval rate with our unused revenues, you can still come down later. If you do anything less than that, you can't go up.
That's correct. You have to propose a rate, and then you can come
We're
down.
gonna come down, yeah.
But if,
We're not locked in today.
but, right, but, and so if you go home and kick it around, you can always come down. But we can sit here all day and not accomplish anything.
Shelley, and read a motion off to us.
One, I can't see you, so I can't read your lips. You got this glow about you, Matt.
Yeah.
What'd you say, bub?
I said, grab that paper from Shelley and make us a motion.
But I don't want to. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. You're gonna make the motion for us?
No,
Oh,
it needs to say, someone needs to say, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .3243, which is effectively a .96% increase in the tax rate.
a 0.96%. Listen,
Well, that sounded bad at first,
It sure-
9.6%.
bad.
I was elected to make tough decisions. I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .3243, which is effectively a 0.96% increase in the tax rate.
second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Snubs. Did you get that, all of that, Pam? We have a second, Commissioner Hollowell.
Keep in mind, that's not a final for,
That's right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are,
you done a good job, Judge.
there are none. That motion passes 5-0. Item number 31, consider and possibly approve setting the date for the public hearing on the FY '24 budget.
Is that gonna be a regular court date, Shelley?
Yeah.
You're setting that? Chelsea?
We can't get any ads in the paper that meet the deadlines.
So what do we do?
Isn't it the 11th of
So that's why we're
September?
moving it
Yeah.
to the 11th instead of August, the
11th
last
of
court in
September.
August.
Okay, 11th of September, but that's still a regular court date?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have to do anything special.
I make a motion that that we approve setting the date for the public hearing on the '24 budget for the 11th of September.
You sure?
Excuse me, Steve, I'm sorry. Did you get all that? Yeah, okay, thank you.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. That motion passes 5-0. Item number 32, consider and possibly approve setting the date for the public hearing regarding the proposed FY '24 tax rate, only if raising the rate above the new revenue rate.
That's where we're at.
And you did.
And we did. So,
We can do that on the same date, right? Yeah. I make a motion, we do that for the 11th as well.
okay. The motion, Commissioner Snuggs, for 11th September.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are no, it passes 5-0. Item number 33. At this time, we're going to go into executive session. And it is 12:49. So if we could clear the courtroom, please. we're going to come back out of executive session at.
Hang on, Judge,
1
hang on, Judge.
I'm sorry.
He's,
Good.
okay.
At 1:20, and then item number 34 was item number 33 was no action. Item number 35,
Make the motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Art makes the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snug. All in favor,
Ah,
show it with your feet.
I'm famished, I didn't have